Back to the Future fans everywhere are rejoicing today, October 21st, 2015. It's the day Marty McFly and Doc Brown hopped into the DeLorean and traveled 30 years into the future. It's finally here. Yeah, we wanted to take a look at the predictions the movie got right and where we still have some catching up to do.
All right, Doc, what's going on, huh? Where are we? When are we?
We're descending toward Hill Valley, California at 4:29 p.m. on Wednesday, October 21st, 2015.
2015? You mean we're in the future?
When Marty McFly arrived in 2015 aboard Doc Brown's DeLorean time machine, he had no idea what to expect. Later today, the past prediction for the future will finally become the present.
Here's our exit.
And here we are in cinematic 2015, where flying cars are clogging up the skyways. In the real 20-teens, it's all about self-driving cars.
If they dug up the DeLorean...
Screenwriter Bob Gale had a clear vision for the future. Inside the Cooper Union Clock Tower, Gale told us he wanted 2015 to be recognizable.
We knew going in, nobody ever successfully predicts the future accurately. It can't be done. And we want the future to be a positive, optimistic future. We want people to see this movie and say, hey, I like that future. I'd like to live there.
Hey, 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 hey. Hey, 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 stop. Little girl, stop. Look, I need to borrow your hoverboard.
So long, skateboards. Hello, hoverboards. A gang chased Marty around town in 2015, each flying their own personalized board.
I got it working! My dad taught me about these.
Visual effects art director John Bell designed many of the movie's futuristic elements, including hoverboards and the nostalgic Cafe 80s.
All we know is we go 30 years in the future and there's something called a hoverboard. I'll take something that's 85% familiar. It could be a shape, it could be a color, it could be a pattern. And then if I'm projecting into the future, throw something that's just a little 15% twist.
Today, companies are still testing how to make a reliable, working hoverboard for the general public. On the real streets of 2015, though, toys like this Swagway are the closest we've gotten to gliding around.
There was a lot of predictions that we made. We said, well, maybe that'll come true. That has a good chance. Hoverboards? No, we never thought it. And the fact that, you know, they say life imitates art. So kids like you saw Back to the Future Part 2 in the day, and they said, well, if I can't have a hoverboard,
I'm going to make one.
I'm going to make one.
I was right! Yes!
Let's talk drones.
Oh my God. Look at this thing.
They're being used now by news organizations.
By everybody. They're all over the place. We started out thinking it's kind of like this gag technology, you know, it's just a joke. But little did we know, 30 years later, people are using them all over the world.
We're not thinking about, we're making an important statement about the future here. No, 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 no. We're having a good time.
Read my fax!
While nobody uses fax machines anymore for instant communication, the movie nails other everyday technology. In the movie, fingerprint scanners unlock the front door and pay for things like taxis. Today, we use biometric technology to open doors, unlock smartphones, and even authorize digital payments.
Hello, in here, please.
The McFlys use a giant flat-screen TV that responds to audio commands and makes video calls. Flat screens have been around for a while now, but Samsung Smart TV has voice recognition. As for video calls, there's FaceTime and Skype. Hi, Krista.
Hi, Vlad.
Krista Smith here is the executive West Coast editor of Vanity Fair. Do you think that the movie can still influence young people today?
I think it still holds up, absolutely. The stuff that they were talking about in 85 to 90 is stuff that's actually our reality now.
Hey, McFly! I thought I told you to stay in here!
As a teenager, it's still very relevant because you're still going through the same things. It doesn't matter if you have an iPhone or if you can fly around the world. 15-year-olds are feeling the same thing that 15-year-olds were feeling in the 50s.
Wait a minute. Cubs win World Series. Against Miami?
107 years after its last title, the Cubs are still trying to advance to this year's World Series. And so we wait just a bit longer to see if the movie's ultimate prediction comes true.
You're not gonna believe this! We gotta go back to 1955!
I don't believe it!
Why do you think Back to the Future remains so popular?
It's the humanity of Back to the Future. And the movie says you have some control over your own destiny. The things that you do today can have a life-changing effect in your future.
To the future, to the past, and back to the future. We're all caught up. And what do we have to look forward to? To be continued.
So cool. So I know you're such a huge fan of this movie.
Yeah.
What was the best part of doing this story?
The best part was clearly getting an opportunity to meet Bob Gale, the writer of Back to the Future, the entire series, because as I told him, you know, and I think a lot of millions of kids felt this way. When you were 15, when I first saw this movie when I was 15 years old, I was not Marty. I was George McFly, the real loser. I was probably George McFly to the nth degree. I had Biffs on every corner, beating me up, putting me in stuff in my head in lockers. And when I saw this movie, it really made me understand and believe, as Doc Brown says in the last movie, that the future is not written. And that all came from the mind of Bob Gale. So if you had said to me in 1985 that I'd be interviewing this guy and talking to the man who sort of helped me get through my adolescence, I wouldn't have believed it.
And I love that he tells you that they wanted to create this 2015 that was optimistic, that people would want to live in.
Yeah, you wanted to live in 2015, and they got so many things right, a couple of things wrong, but that was a real thrill. And I worked with so many people. There were so many people. I'm probably the least important person in that story because Kira Cleveland, who is our producer, she's running around here somewhere. I think she's hiding now. There she is, running. She's waving as she's heading up the stairs there. She produced this piece. There she is. She's trying to run. And she produced this piece, put a lot of work into it. We had so many, and Brian Bingham, who is the senior producer, you just saw him very briefly. Jackie Corba, who is also producer. It's like an Academy Award thing, where you want to thank everybody. But it was like these guys made it all amazing using all these special effects. And we had a lot of them.